Okay, so a couple of the finds I brought home because these ones, fairy ring champignon, I'm going to eat, and this one, I do believe it's an edible. I wouldn't eat those because they've gone over and they're too much slug damage, but I'm just looking into what they are exactly. Now these ones, I made a video about the fairy ring champignon, so you can see how they're growing in short roadside grass. And over here is the photos of them, and so we're making these comparisons. And we can see that they are very similar. And the thing is about this mushroom is where they grow, at the roadside or in short lawns on plain fields or whatever, and they are very popular mushroom. They're supposed to be quite tasty, but what it says here is that edible, but since it can be confused with the deadly Clitocybe revolusa, great care should be taken in collection. And this is page 51. So we go over to page 51, and it's this one here. You see, people often make these scare announcements when the mushroom, okay, to an untrained eye it could look a little bit similar, but you see this particular one has a convex cap, whereas these mushrooms all have a concave. They always are rounded on the top with a pronounced umbro. Is it umbro? Umbro. And the gills here are more crowded than these. Stalks pretty similar, but these are a buff colour, whereas these are white. These mushrooms are all white, whereas these are vividly orange. And so, when they make these scare tactic announcements, and this one is a deadly poisonous one, like it says there, but you see, our logical, rational minds would look at that, and we'd look at these mushrooms, and we go, well, to be quite frank, if this poisonous mushroom was, say, like this one, which looks very similar in lots of respects, save for it has the inversion on the top again, you see, where this one has a protrusion. And so that's a very distinctive characteristic. This one has an inversion, where this one has a protrusion. And so, this is classic to all of these mushrooms. It's not like some of them have an inversion and some of them have a protrusion. No, they have a stereotypical characteristic like that. And so when we look for the similes, well, that one's similar in colour, but it's different with the inversion, like I say. And so when we go back to look for this particular mushroom, then we hold up a comparison and we go, well, okay, the top looks very distinctive. Let's get another one. There's another one. Look at that one there and that one there. Wow, that's spot on, isn't it? Then look at it from the underneath. It's kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's very, very spot on. And then if we cut one down the centre and we offer up a comparison like that, we go, okay, yes. And then it says that the stipe is very robust, and this is very robust, you know, for a mushroom. So these, I mean, these are, as far as I'm concerned, they're champignon fairy rings. But when it says be careful because they can be deadly, well, that's enough to set something afoot in one's mind. And the vast majority of people wouldn't bother consuming any wild fungi on the premise of that, on the one chance they can get it wrong. Ugh, because with deadly mushrooms, you're not going to have second chances. And so I know when I've been eating mushrooms in the past, and I've absolutely categorically checked what I'm eating. Still, there's something there in the back of your mind which tells you, are you sure? It's asking you, are you sure? And I'm telling you, on one occasion, last year, I cooked a chicken curry with these mushrooms. But this nagging voice in my head kept saying, throw it away. It's only a chicken curry. You don't want to be sick. They might be poisonous. No, I've checked them. Well, you know, there's one chance in a million that you could get it wrong, and then you're going to be dead. And it's like, So I threw the fucking chicken curry away. I'm like, god damn. So, I have a certain drawn compulsion to eating these wild fungi. But, you know, we can make mistakes, and if you're not really thorough, then you can get stuff. And with a little bit of knowledge, it could appear like, oh, you've got a certain mushroom and it's edible. But the more you learn about this stuff, the more you learn how, you know, lots of different mushrooms can look the same and have similar attributes. And this is why wild fungi foraging isn't that popular. And so, the next one that I found was this one. And this is a very nice looking mushroom, beautiful, healthy and edible looking. And here is another one. And so I'm going to cut that one down because it's always handy to cut them down and see what happens, see what the flesh is like inside, so you can get you know, a greater knowledge of that mushroom. Now that mushroom is this one, and it's a Clytocybe family mushroom. And this one, the Geotropa, otherwise known as funnel troopers, they're supposed to be a nice edible. So the Geotropa says here edible and good. And this one here is that, I won't even try to say that other than the Giganteus. And what does it say about the Giganteus? It says that they are edible, uncommon. And so this is why I've never found one of those before. Flat at first, soon deeply funnel shaped, ivory, finely flushed tan at the centre. Does mine have a flushed tan at the centre? Not as yet, but it's not finally, I suppose. And often cracked or scaly. Margin enrolled, well, it has a margin enrolled. Stem, 35 millimeters, 35 millimeters. Suppose it gets to about that when they, you know, fully mature. White flesh. Taste and smell faint but pleasant. Taste and smell pleasant. Gills decurrent, crowded and forked. Creamy spore, white print. Grass in pastures. Well, I found it in grass at the side of the road. And it's very creamy, and it's a very crowded gill, and it's decurrent gill. And let's see what it smells like. Let me break this one up. There's so many things you can... yeah, it's pleasant. And it's got a pleasant texture. Yeah, and you know, instinct would tell you that you could eat that one. And so I won't be eating this one, but I'm going to look at these clitocybes to see if there's any which look similar, which are poisonous. You know, you've got to do all those checks. Because you might find another variety which is, you know, pretty similar and it's deadly poisonous and oh my goodness. So you have to do a lot of research, people. But you know what I generally do with these is I always look down and I go edible, edible, edible. That one's not edible. The clubfoot, that's the clubfoot. Now, not edible, but not recognisably deadly poisonous. But who knows? Said to be edible. Said to be edible. This is the cloudlick agaric. This is this one. Said to be edible. Well, are you going to eat it on the premise of that written in a book? Said to be edible, but unknown to cause, but known to cause gastric upsets in many people. Yeah. Well, I won't be eating that one. The aniseed toadstool. So this is the whole thing about fungi foraging, people. It's very, very fascinating, and when you have fungi that you know you can eat because there's no mistakes, then it's great. And so when we like find the porcini or sepbolete or the puffballs or certain field mushrooms, the funnel trooper is a very distinctive mushroom, and you know, there's many other varieties that are very distinguishable, and you can't make any mistakes. And so when you find those in the wild, it's kind of something, you know. And then when you're eating them, still at the back of your mind, it's kind of like... So the first time you eat them, it's kind of like you're wondering if you're going to fucking wake up tomorrow. But if you do, then it's okay. You can continue to eat them. So there you have it, people. Some of you like these foraging videos.